So, like the question says on my thumbnail, can everyone build wealth? Well, you absolutely can. I'm getting ready to share a quick trick with you, but first I'll say that building wealth is a little bit like being a farmer. You see, money really can grow on trees, but you, farmer, you just have to plant the seeds, right? You have to plant the seeds that will then have a result with this growth of this wealth. Now, there are some simple methods that I think are kind of like, I don't want to say anything's guaranteed, but let's say your likelihood of success is really high. Here is one example for you. Now, building wealth has a lot to do with, your results have lots of factors. One factor is how early are you going to start? How early in life are you going to start? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Are you going to be disciplined, and are you determined to make this a long game that you're going to play and not a short game? Now, the younger you start, the better. But that doesn't mean that an old head, even like me, an old head, and I'm, as of the recording of this video, 50 years old, you can still win. But here's one way. I call it combo investing. I'm going to use an example of a 25-year-old man or woman that has a desire to, say, retire at the age of 50. So that gives them 25 years to accumulate a nest egg in retirement. Now remember, retirement doesn't mean that you'll never make a dime again. So they may have a business into their retirement, other streams of income. This is just going to be additional money for you to live off of. Here's my example of combo long-term investing. Combination of high yield savings and index funds. Okay, you decide how you're going to split the money. The bigger return is likely to come from the index funds. Okay, which could be some double-digit years, and then there'll be some years that'll be 5, 6, 7%. But there'll be years where you'll get 12, 14, 16%, which is pure insanity. 16% is like crazy good. But let's say that the average ends up being 7.5% per year. And let's say after you have scratched and clawed and really just kind of buckled down because you're working your butt off, you're able to invest $800 per month into your future. $800. At the end of 25 years, getting a 7.5% return, you'd have around $700,000. I think it's somewhere around 685 to be exact. But here's what's so cool about it. Out of that money, out of $685,000 or so, you would have contributed yourself about $240,000, and the rest, which would be, me doing the simple math, about 450 grand, is all free money or interest earned. And what if the return ends up being even 1 point higher? That could add tens or even six figures of additional income. And I know it's not $1 million, but most people don't have that kind of money that I just described to walk into in retirement by basically becoming a very smart farmer and planting the seeds that grow trees that grow money on them. And that's exactly what you do. You probably have some additional sources of income. Maybe you have some other some account with an employer. Maybe you have a side business that you've started. But I think that gives you a really good shot And remember, you could be even more aggressive and you could get even better returns to where now you are looking at 800,000, 900,000, maybe even $1 million. I could play with the numbers a lot of different ways, but the biggest thing that you got to remember is you got to be in it to win it. So you got to be in it for a long game, okay? A long game. Think a baseball game that goes into extra innings. That can get to be a long game. So you got to be in it for a long game. You got to be disciplined. You got to stay the course, and you got to be determined to win. And it's a very high likelihood that you will. Hey, just wanted to give you some tips on building wealth over the long run, because that's how most people successfully build wealth. It takes a while, okay? So make sure you give this video a thumbs up, like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. Until then, be a great farmer. Plant those seeds so those money trees can grow, and let's all get wealthy together. Talk to you soon.